Least a dozen players that have tested positive for COVID-19 this week, further putting the Ravens-Steelers matchup in jeopardy of being postponed again. The Ravens outbreak started on Sunday after their game versus the Titans as J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram tested positive for coronavirus, which closed their team facilities. On Wednesday, they added 3 players to the reserve COVID-19 list, and their game versus the Steelers was postponed until Sunday afternoon. Yesterday, 4 players tested positive, including, as I just mentioned, Lamar Jackson. Ravens coach John Harbaugh told players Thursday that they would not be allowed back to the team facility until Monday at the earliest in the interest of safety. Stephen A., Ravens Steelers, in your opinion, should it be postponed yet again?
Absolutely. I think it should. I originally did not feel that way because we heard about, a couple of positive tests. But when you take into account there were tests Sunday, and then there were positive tests Wednesday. And then yesterday, Lamar Jackson test positive. You talk about Mark Ingram, you talk about Calais Campbell, you talk about J.K. Dobbins and various others. The bottom line is that I look at it from the standpoint when you're talking about 12 different players that have tested positive, when you're talking about a coach that has received disciplinary action against him because of his handling of the coronavirus situation in terms of, operating under protocol and things of that nature. I don't think that this is something that one could safely say is contained. And as a result, I think that they should be very, very reluctant to play this game. It would be one thing if it was 3, 4, 5 players. I don't care how many players it is. But if you test positive and it's definitive and it's something that was revealed that day and that's it, that's one thing. But when you have 3 separate days moving forward throughout the week where guys ultimately are revealed to have tested positive, then to me, that's not a chance worth taking. And as a result, I definitely think the game should be postponed, meaning canceled for this Sunday.
That depends for me. If they continue to test and everything's negative and they feel it is, and the medical experts like doctors feel this is contained, then I don't care how many guys they're missing. Them's the breaks. Like that's how we have to view this season of COVID, right? To try to somehow get through the season. I mean, there are ethical questions as to whether we should even be playing tackle football in the middle of a pandemic. However, that was the choice that was made. So we have to realize things will not be perfect. Everyone has to make compromises and kind of cooperate to get this thing done. And the Steelers have done that. Steelers did it with the Titans. They moved their bye. Now they lose their mini bye. The whole they've done whatever and are undefeated, by the way. And so I get it, Stephen A. I'm with you if they say, no, we don't know that this is contained. This is an ongoing issue. You got to postpone the game. It has to be done. However, if it is contained, I don't care if they're missing 16 dudes. You're playing on Sunday. Right? To me, it's only a health issue. It's not a competitive thing issue. No, because the Steelers, you have to be fair to everybody. Why should the Steelers have to play a Week 18 or whatever it's going to be? Why should the Steelers, who've already had to move a game because the Titans wound up with COVID, and it turns out that they hadn't violated protocol, the Titans, right? There was reporting early that maybe they were practicing, but it turns out the team hadn't violated protocol, and so whatever, they reschedule stuff. If it turns out, however, because this is a developing story, and the last I saw, and that was on Get Up this morning, Stephen A., the last I saw was that there's a strength and conditioning coach who had symptoms that he didn't report. If there was any kind of protocol violation on the part of the Ravens, and whether or not that led to the spread definitively, we can prove cause and effect. If there was simply protocol violations, I think, and the Ravens don't want to play on Sunday, or it's not safe for them to now do it, they should just forfeit the game. Forfeit the game. You have to be fair to everybody, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if they can't go, they can't go. If they follow protocols, it turns out, if you investigate it, they follow protocols, and it's unsafe to play, you have to postpone. Play Week 18. If, however, it's contained, you play on Sunday. I don't care how many guys you're missing. If they violated protocols and they can't go on Sunday, they should forfeit the game. It should be a loss for the Ravens and a win for the Steelers.
I have no problem with them having to forfeit the game if it's revealed that they violated protocol. If it's not, I don't think a forfeiture is fair. If you didn't violate protocol, then a forfeiture is not fair because it's something that's out of your control. And my issue for pushing the game back, Max Kellerman, and I'm very reluctant to even spit something like that out of my mouth, but here's where I make the exception. I don't see how any medical professional can say we've contained anything if you have tests on Sunday, then on Wednesday, then on Thursday. If you have positive tests on 3 separate days, one would surmise that if you're talking about containment, then as of Sunday or Monday, you should be able to say, these are the test results, and we've given out these tests, these are the results, and this is what it is. If you're finding more and more positive tests come along as the week progresses, then that's not containment. And then now you're in danger of ultimately infecting the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's why I say, nah, this week, this Sunday, I would cancel this week's game because 3 separate days, more positive tests have come. I don't know how containment can take place when that's happening before Sunday.
I'm talking theoretically. You're talking practically. Practically, I think you're probably right. I think your logic is sound, and you're probably right. You should probably just immediately postpone the game, and then after the fact, figure out whether that postponement means they will play a Week 18 or whether the Ravens should then forfeit the game. But my real point is forfeiture should be on the table. I know some money is lost for the teams, for the league. I understand that. I understand that in the spirit of cooperation, sometimes you say, guys, come on, I know it's not perfectly fair to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They kind of got screwed twice this season by it, but so they're the team that had to compromise more than others. Let's play football. Let's get as close as possible to a normal season. Things won't be perfect. I understand that line of thinking, but I think that is superseded. I think that loses the argument to a team if it's found they violated protocols. In the middle of a pandemic, a point you've brought up repeatedly, Stephen A., the players opted out of a season where there would be kind of bubbles, right? That means they accept personal responsibility. That means teams do. That means their training staff. That means everyone. So at a certain point, you need incentives for good behavior, and you need things that dissuade and punish bad behavior. And if we're not getting the Steelers are bumped off of prime time, they lose their mini by like all those things. No, not if you're not playing. If you're not following protocol, you should lose. The Steelers should win.
Well, definitely, if you're not following protocol, we don't disagree there. But I'm gonna propose something to you, and I'll leave it up to you to answer real quickly. I am a proponent that now more so than ever, Max, it's one thing to ask them to be in a bubble kind of atmosphere dating back from July or August in preparation for an entire season. But now that December is rapidly approaching, we're talking about, for most dudes, a month, if not, and for, the contenders, 2 months max. I think within 2 weeks' time, a bubble should be instituted, Max, regardless of how they feel about it. They should have no say. You're asking them to make a sacrifice for maybe a month. I think that right now, more than ever, over these next couple of weeks, the NFL should be able to enforce a bubble for these teams. It shouldn't even be a debate about it.
This is what Major League Baseball did for the playoffs, right? I totally agree. They need to, this is a debate show, but this issue goes beyond debate,